So, a little story on this tire. So the story on this one is that customer wanted mount balance for his vehicle, brand new tires. So I said, all right. So I put it on there, and when he came to go pick up the vehicle, I told him I had issues trying to balance it out. But yeah, I had issues balancing it out. I readjusted the cone on the balancer few times, and then finally I decided to pull the tire off and rotate it 180 and then slap it back on and try it again. And with doing that, it still showed the amount of weights that it needed on there. It was like between 7 and 9 ounces of weights on there, which is a lot of weights. And the issue about that is that I've had in the past, a long time ago, was it's like a 50-50 chance. You put a lot of weights on it, it makes the tire shake, and then sometimes it works out. You put a lot of weights on it and it works out great. So that's the only issue that I had about putting a lot of weights on it, was that it works and sometimes it doesn't. So after he told me that he still has bad shaking on it, so he took it to one of the local shops here, and it worked out great. They had it. He told me how much weights that needed to be put on there, and then I went back on the footage and I reviewed it, and it pretty much matched up how much the other weights, or how much weights the other shop added to it. So I told him right there that it was my fault and I had issues trying to balance the tire. So I explained why I didn't like adding that much weights, just because it's 50-50 chance. It works. Sometimes it makes it shaking bad. And I remember last year I did his tires, and that I saw that they were static balance last year. So last year I told him I'm going to do it the correct way and the right way. So I did it that way last year, did it the correct way, and it worked out. Worked great last year. Man, this year I just totally spaced it off. I didn't pay attention to the details of how much offset it had and how the previous weights were on there from the last time. Because last year I only did the front two, and it worked out great. I did a regular aluminum balance on it, and it worked out. And this year I didn't pay attention to it, and I didn't think of it. And this year I did a static balance on it, and yeah, we had issues right off the bat with it, just because I saw it showing some high amounts of weights that needed to be added on there. And I told him that was my fault, so I gave him a refund, and I'm happy that he let me know that he had issues with it, because that gave me feedback like, hey, I need to wake up and realize what I just did, that I didn't balance the wheel correctly. So that was the first mistake I made, and this is the first tire mistake that I made this year. Well, for the year, because I opened up my business last year. Never had an issue with customers, never got a complaint, and this is the first. So yeah, but I'm happy that he told me he had issues with the balancing, the vibration, and he got it worked out, situated. I gave him his refund back, and he said he just wanted a little bit back, just because I still mounted the tires on there, and I just hate that he had to go to another shop to fix it. And when I was thinking about it, I was like, damn it, the machine said how much weights they added, and then he told me how much weights they put on, and it matched up with how much weights that they needed or that they put on. and yeah, I didn't pay attention to it. So I told him that was my fault, and I'm happy we got it situated and worked out. So this is the first set of wheels that I messed up for since a year, and I learned my lesson from it. I learned my lesson that I didn't pay attention to the details of how the previous weights were on there, how much of an offset that it had, and it didn't have that much offset. And I still did a static balance on it, which I knew from the beginning that I don't like static balance, just because they don't work that great, but they do work great on big offsets on custom rims. Like my son-in-law, he got some new rims and he wanted me to put his old tires on there, so I did that. And I did it because of how much of offset it had and how deep of a bowl it is. So I put a static balance on there, and he never had any vibration issues with it. It worked out great. Some custom rims, it requires it just because how much of an offset it has and how deep the bowl is. And with this customer, he didn't have that much of offset, and I should have knew already. I should have paid attention to it, but I didn't, so that was my fault. Hope you guys enjoyed the rest of this footage. I'm only going to show about half the front two tires that I worked on, just because he had balancing issues and he gave me feedback, which I like. I like when customers give me feedback. Every now and then I'll run into a couple of the locals around here and I'll ask them, how's that tire? How's that tire? Tire patch, balancing. I'll ask them whatever the customer wanted. If I run into them, I'll ask them, how's the balancing or how's the patch? They're like, it's good, man, it's good. So I like to get feedback so that way I know if I'm doing something wrong or anything like that, I can go and correct it. Or if my balancing machine's off, I can go and get it recalibrated. And yeah, it was just my fault. I didn't pay attention to the details. So lesson learned, and I'm happy we got it situated and figured it out. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of this clip. That's a lot of weights. Oh, right there where the previous spot was at. That's weird. It's got to be the tire if it's like that. Or the rim, I mean.
Huh. Damn, it's the rim.